back to my channel, Country Conversations with DVD. Now, this is going to be a review of episode 11 and 12 for Zatima. Now, my app crashed. I know they have about 13 and 14. I will be getting to those pretty soon if I can get my app to work. However, we're just going to go over 11 and 12 right now, and hopefully in the next couple minutes my app will be working and I'll be able to do those as well. Now let's get right on into it, shall we? Now, the episode opens up with Zach and Fatima arguing from the previous episode. Now, I'm thinking it's the previous season, but no, not entirely. This is the previous episode. They continue to argue about his infidelity with Connie. And he goes on to say, oh, yeah, I slept with her. And then, she says, Zach, you're breaking my heart. We have deal breakers. I told you about my deal breakers. He said, I know what your deal breakers. Don't lie to me and don't cheat on me. And so, he starts to get belligerent and starts to throw things. And she's very upset. But she tries to reason with him. She takes a seat. She says she's not going anywhere. And then he tells her, you did the one thing that I told you not to do. Mention my mother. And then he looks around and tells her just like her. She throws her ring, and Angela's in the background begging Fatima to leave. And he's still throwing things. And Fatima is again, she's trying to hang in there. And then Zach is telling her, just go, Fatima, just go. And finally, she relents and she goes. And her and Angela leave. And Angela's already terrified, honey. She was like ready to dip when Zach first yelled at her. So she goes to her mom's house. And before she arrives, the mom is having a discussion with the dad. And she's telling him, maybe I was too hard on Zach. And now she's being herself, but she realizes that, she was once where Fatima is. And so was Pops. But Pops has a bigger plan. So when Fatima arrives, she lets them know that she's broken up with Zach. And she tells her mom, I guess you're happy. And she's like, well, I don't want you to be happy, baby. And so Fatima says, I'm just going to go upstairs and get me some clothes. And her mom says, those clothes are old. Then her snooty voice. I don't want you to go to work in old clothes. And she tells her that she'll just go to her storage. Fatima walks out. As soon as she walks out, there go that mom. Being messy. Talking about, yeah, well, I'm glad it's over. And then Dad is like, not really. I don't think it's over. They love each other. And she's like, he's all wrong for my baby. So, Bryce and Zach are at the office. And there's Bryce, bigging up this deal. Now, here we go in Tyler Perry again. Where is Jake? Jake from State Farm. The half-black fella that was over there on Sisters. That was the Bryce of this show. Are they two different people? Because this fella is Asian. Where is that guy? The Bryce of Sisters. The one that was giving him the advice. And he just disappeared. No explanation. Tyler often does that, by the way. He did the same thing with If Loving You Was Wrong, when the lady that used to sing, what would we do if someone was at home? I can't think of her name. Claudette something. She was on the Hollywood Deals LA. Poof. In the thin air. On If Loving You Was Wrong. Same thing with Jake / Bryce. But anyway, he tried to big up this deal, and Zach is hesitant about getting the deal. He says, Zach tells him, I'm not sure about this deal, man. I'm really the type of person that fucks up everything in my life, and I've messed up things with Fatima. And here comes Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Zach's friends. Another factor in their relationship not being on track. So you have Mom, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and another character that's coming up that was there in the past, but she make a triumphant return. So Zach, they trying to get Zach to go out. Zach is, having a pity party, and he's like, man, Nate especially. I can't stand his ass. But, telling Zach, get over this girl. We want Zach attack back, blah, blah, Zach attack. So they trying to get him to go to open mic night. Zach is not really feeling that. He's not really, ready to go out right now at this time. But, they're pumping up his head, and then they tell him that Fatima's already filled out a dating profile, and she put on there that she's single. So Zach says, well, we'll go ahead and go to open mic. Meanwhile, Fatima is over there arriving at Angela's house. Angela pours her some wine and tries to comfort her. And now Angela is pretty much pro Zach, so we could take her out of the equation of being one of the factors that's interfering in these people's relationship. Now, mind you, all these people are grown in their 30s. But, prior to that, I just wanted to mention that Nate is married. And Zach reminds him that he's married. Back to Angela and Fatima. So Fatima lets her know, wine is fine in the summertime, but I need something stronger than this. And she says, yeah, we need some weed. So they decide to fire them up one. And Angela tells Fatima, what about that Annie and Paul? And she was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go out with Paul. So she goes out. She makes a date with Paul. But the snooty judge goes to see Zach. And he talks to Zach in his way, but while he's walking up on the sidewalk, there's Dirty Deja flirting with Pops. And he tells her that, asks her where's Zach. And she's like, oh, he in there. It's something going on. I heard glass breaking, being her acting like Rose from 227 self. And when he asked her what her name was, she said, well, I'm not an old man type of bitch. And then she looks over at the car and she's like, oh, is that your car? And he listens on. He's like, yeah, that's my car. And she changed her mind about not being an old man type of bitch. She says, oh, what did you do? He says, I'm a former judge and lawyer. And she said, well, that means you got money, right? Changed her mind real quick. So, the judge apologizes for, he and Zach start talking. He apologizes for his wife's behavior, snooty, but then he reminds him that, they are hood as well, because judge says, and he's still lame nigga from the south side. And Zach tells him that, he didn't really sleep with Kanye because, Pop says, you broke the deal with her. And he's like, well, Fatima's a liar too. She lied about me seeing a therapist. And he said, and she was wrong for that. That's what Pop says. And I'm like, come on, Pop. And then Pop says, but I know when my daughter is serious about somebody and she loves you, and I know that you love her. Then Zach is like, well, I thought y'all would be happy because, y'all don't think I'm good enough for your daughter. He said, but my daughter loves you. And I want you to fix this before she locks up her heart. Because when a woman locks up her heart like a vault, there's no breaking the code to get back in. And I know my daughter, he said. Okay. As he's walking out the door, he thinks about old Deja up there flirting with him. He said, "Can I get Deja's number?" He said, "Man, you trying to get shot?" Paul, Fatima, Angela, and Angela's date, they all arrived at the club for the open mic night. And who's up on the stage other than the fourth member and factor in ending Zach and Fatima's relationship? Oh, nasty Belinda. Well, Belinda is dating married Nate. They've been getting it in, baby. Yes. Like he's not married. And that's another thing I don't like about this. What friend group in their 30s is still encouraging infidelity? Weird. So Belinda tells, she talks about how sorry she is about doing things to Fatima, and she tells Fatima to come up and sing. And Fatima, she gets on the mic and she sings Falling. And Zach is in the background, miserable, because he's letting these people. And how many factors is it? I said 4 or 5. I forgot about that dirty mama and that dirty brother. Child, why is Tyler doing this to this couple? When I found out that Fatima and Zach were going to have their own show, I thought they were going to come over here in happy bliss. Now, with the natural perils of a relationship, but not with these adult people acting like they're 5 years old in the sandbox, interfering in their relationship. So, after she sings, her and Paul, they leave. Things get heated between her and Paul over at Angela's spot. And they about to, but she stops herself. And Paul's like, "I know I'm the man for you, because we got so much in common." He fine. I know him from Double Cross. And when he was younger, on Young and Restless. Know the face, might not know the name, but I know that face. So fine, Paul. And he's like, I'm not a rich man, but I do contracting and I do pretty good. And Fatima's like, yeah, I'm not just like into relationships for that. We do have a lot in common. He says, I do therapy, you do therapy. Well, you've done therapy. I listen to you. We have things in common Zach doesn't do. Zach doesn't like to go to the theater. I love the theater. And here comes Tweedledum with Zach, and Angela knows that Angela gets there before, gets to her apartment before Zach does, but she knows Zach is on the way. And she warns them that Zach is coming and say, I don't know where y'all going, but y'all got to look about him, because Zach is on the way. And her date is like, well, if things getting like that, we might should stay. And no, she shows them on out the door, and then, finally Paul relents and he leaves as well. As they're on their way out the door, here comes Tweedledum with Zach. And he's doing all these karate moves, looking like a fool. And then, Paul is not worried about that man at all, but Sam is ready. He ready to buck up. But anyway, Zach goes into the home and he tells he tells Angela that he needs to see Fatima. And then Angela bucks up and be like, you need to go see him. But you fucking like that. And then Zach's like, Fatima. He's screaming her name, and Fatima like him up back to the 5-year-old status. She runs and hides. And poor Zach never gets to discuss anything with Fatima. Now we're on episode 12. Bryce and Zach are in the office, and here is Bryce again. Now I'm not sure if Bryce has his best interest at heart, but he's back to big up and deal. So this is what makes me think that Bryce is the Jake, because he mentioned Gary. Zach mentions Gary because he's big up in the deal, and he's like, well, who am I supposed to be getting this deal through? Is it gonna be between you and Gary? And he's like, well, I'm not dealing with Gary on that. This is between me and you. Now, foreshadowing. I think that the deal that Bryce is trying to make is gonna be between Zach and Paul. Because remember, Paul is a contract. But anyway, he tells him that he's going to need therapy, he thinks. And he asked Bryce, do you think I need therapy? And Bryce is smart. He doesn't answer the question. He says, now, the question is, do you think you need therapy? And finally, Zach relents and says, well, I think I do, and we need to meet with this contract. So, we'll see who the contractor is, but I think it's Paul, y'all. Anyway, over at the office, Fatima's office, where she works with Andy, Doc calls her and tells her that he wants to meet with her. It's about Zach, but he tells her nothing else. She finally agrees to go. Angela tells Fatima, because now Angela is pro Zach, that her and Zach need to talk. Fatima says she's done because Zach broke her rules, which is don't lie and don't cheat. Those are deal breakers for her. And Angela tells her, I wish I could be so strong and keep my rules intact like you. And then she's like, well, when did you become pro-Zach? And she was like, I know that man loves you. And then she said, well, why don't you give Bryce another chance? And she says, I'm not giving him another chance like you giving Zach another chance. That is different. Bryce wants Pink, honey. So that's that on that. But that's a done deal. I want a man that won't cuckoo-cuckoo. Fatima encourages Angela to go ahead and call Bryce anyway, to at least be friends with him and just listen to him, see what he has to say. But Angela's standing firm and she don't want a man that's getting pain or whatever Bryce's pansexual self is doing over there. That ain't her judge, and she's not into it. Well, Zach goes to the barbershop, and there is old Mr., the one who gives him good advice, and he tells him, hey, man, I know you still not listening to it and to it dumb. And he's like, no, man, I'm doing my own thing. I'm listening to my own mind. He said, man, I think I'm going to do therapy. He said, shit, therapy where? Then he goes with that black thing, how we listen to somebody that wants therapy. I got your therapy right here. You can pay me to tell you what you need to know. Therapy is bullshit. And you don't need your head shrunk. Okay. Well, Zach goes in, and he's like, what? He said, man, I'm part of the cloud. And he's like, what you mean? This shit ass weed. Zach gets a little tickled, and he pounds him up, and he goes on, and he goes inside. And here comes Tony. He asked what Tony is, because Tony is his barber. But Tony and Tweedle D and Tweedle Dum, Tweedle D and Tweedle Dum, they are outside, talking. And he mentions to him about the website that Fatima is on, and her profile is on there. So Tony's like, nah, man, what, it's too hot out here. And then Belinda's like, because she sashays up, and she's like, yeah, go on inside because you need a towel or something. And she invites Tweedledum, Tweedledee, whichever one it is. Nate, the worst one, after dinner. And he was like, well, you got to pay because, you know, I'm kind of short of what not. And she's like, you know, you gonna pay me back? And not that pink. And he said, yeah, I'll pay you back. But you know what? I'm so glad you told me about that profile pic on Fatima. So, you know, Zach doesn't mind me, you know, getting his sloppy second or whatnot. But Zach told him, you know, you can have that trick because you ain't just a sloppy second. You the sloppy 4,000, 5,000. You better get you some condoms, about 5 or 6 at one time, and you better go to the clinic. Keep you an appointment at the clinic. And so they agreed to go to dinner, but Angela walks up on Belinda as she's getting ready to go and tells her, you know, I'm so glad I ran into you. And she's like, well, I want to get my friendship back with Fatima. And she was like, well, that's going to be rough because, you know, you broke Fatima's rule. And Fatima, in that way, I'm kind of like that too. That's that Scorpio energy. Is once you cross me, it's hard to become cool with me again. In another scene, Paul and Fatima agreed to go to dinner. And here we go. This open mic night where Fatima really doesn't want to go because she knows that Belinda's going to be there. She don't want to deal with Belinda. But Angela is listening in the background. And she tells Fatima, oh, that man is so fine. Go ahead and go with her. Fatima lets her know that, you know, before I go to dinner, I have agreed to meet with Zach. Well, I've agreed to meet with the doctor, and it's about Zach. And she goes ahead and goes to the doctor. And when she arrives at the doctor's office, Zach and his mess-ass family is there. And that old mean mama is in there telling all her business. And, you know, when Fatima arrives, she is like, surprised. And the episode ends there and picks back up with episode 13, where at this moment, Zach is pouring his heart out to his family. But that will be continued on episode 13. Stay tuned to my channel for episode 13 and 14 of Zatima. This is Country Conversations with Diva D. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye now. I'm chunking up the deuces.